Hello, everybody. Welcome back to One Thing at a Time. How you doing, Hailey?
I don't know if you can hear that, but that's me banging the mic on my head. I've been doing fantastic with sprinkles of insanity, but we're amazing. How are you?
This week has been especially hard. I don't know if the planets are going sideways, but it's been rough out here in the streets.
I don't know. Is Mercury in retrograde?
Gosh, I couldn't even
Let's
tell you.
let's look. Let's see. Is Mercury in retrograde? I'm asking Siri. Ugh. Oh, it lasts from September 9th to October 1st.
Oh, so we're not even there yet and it's already crazy good.
We're literally already there yet, and it's already terrible, and I'm really pissed. But that's okay because we're out here stunting on these
Out
hoes.
here stunning.
On these hoes. We have a wedding day tomorrow. I'm very excited. Shout out to Connor if you're listening. Hey.
Do you think she's listening?
Probably not, but that's okay. If she is, she's having a grand old time on her honeymoon.
Oh my gosh. Well, I feel like a lot of good things happened this week and a lot of bad things happened this week. It was a good 50-50 blend.
Okay.
Um
Besides Taylor Swift coming out with her
uh
new
yeah. So we started off the week really strong with the VMAs. That was a shocker to me because I was trying to get it on my TV and I couldn't, so I missed the announcement, and then I went to bed and then I opened up TikTok and Instagram the day after, and I was just bombarded. I was like, "OMG."
Well, like, honestly, I saw this TikTok that it was like it took a snippet of every single song. She goes, "Midnight," and it was like, "Midnight, midnight," and then it was all the song there was literally 20 songs that say midnight. And I was like, "Dang." And then I've seen her conspiracy video that's like the clock. Have you seen the clock? Apparently in one of her music
Yeah.
videos. Yeah.
Mhm.
You can
Well,
probably
have
explain that better.
have you seen the probably not because you aren't a Lover stan, but in her music video for, one of I'm gonna get hated on because I don't know what song it's from, but I think it's from Lover,
Mhm.
but it's a house, like a dollhouse, and
Mhm.
all of the rooms are all of the different albums that she had, and
Ah.
the outside is a dark sky. Midnight,
Oh my
mid
gosh.
So,
That's crazy.
basically what people think is Midnight was supposed to be before Folklore and Evermore, but since obviously the pandemic happened and Folklore and Evermore were an accident, then it got pushed. So,
Okay.
now what people think is this is one of her last albums and that The Door is her last album and she'll walk out and be done. Which that to me is kinda sad because
No, I don't like
but
that.
she still has to re-record all of her other albums.
Wait, okay, so why were Folklore and Evermore, an accident?
Um, because she wrote them in quarantine, and I think I'm not 100% certain on this, but I do also think that, Midnight is kind of a vault album. So, like, she's written these songs way before her, like, way before everything. I think these songs are from when Kanye West interrupted her at the VMAs.
Ah, wait, really?
I think these songs are from that era, but also her Reputation era when that whole thing with Kanye West happened again and Kim Kardashian and all that stuff with his song Famous. I think that is also
So where do you think her punk, like, I know that it's like a punker, a more like a punky album. Like it's very I've heard that it's gonna be very like punk rock.
well, it in Apple Music it's listed under rock.
Oh my
So
gosh.
I'm kind of curious about what Reputation is listed under because I don't
It's
think
weird. It's, like,
it's
not
listed under pop.
okay.
That's
What
right.
is folklore listed under? Because Bon Iver, whatever, is, like, in it, and he's not. It's what?
Alternative.
Yeah, that's 100%,
But
alternative.
rock, dude? I cannot even.
I'm excited because I'm hoping it's gonna be like I'm hoping that it's gonna be, like, very Cage the Elephant, like, 1975
Oh
rock,
my
like,
gosh.
more alternative rock. That's what I'm hoping, like, strong instruments, but still Taylor. So, I'm
Well,
very
I'm really hoping that it's, like, a good mix between Reputation and Folklore.
ah,
Like, I'd really like that.
but it's not gonna be like that because it's gonna be rock.
I know, but dude, I can't even imagine. I guess that she has did you burp?
No, I said, I said, out of
Well,
excitement.
I guess that she has literally done every single genre of music except for rock.
Yeah, except Christian. Wait, no, she did Christian.
Yeah,
She
she sure
l
did.
she did it. Yeah, that's insane, and she's killed every single one.
Wow. Okay. Well, we'll just have to see, but I'm really excited. Oh,
Okay.
I was gonna send you that the Lover House.
Okay, please send it to me. I really am I'm gonna be so upset. She's, like, not even old, so she can't just stop making music. Like, maybe a break. She's only,
Baby,
like,
I hate to
30.
break it to you. I know,
Stevie
but
Nicks is still killing out here. She's got more music left in her. Someone that's literally made so many bangers has that more, I promise. I can feel it.
the day that Taylor Swift and Harry Styles stop making music is the day that I die.
Oh dear. Okay, this exact house was in her.
It was in something. I
Okay.
don't know, but I'm sure people know what house I'm talking about because it's trending. But
Hmm.
but she did say in one of her like interviews that she plans everything 3 years out. Can you imagine having your life planned 3 years out?
I have it a year and I'm just stressed all the time because I'm like, McKinley's like, you better take off your books for my senior prom. I'm like, girl, you've got to let me know. You've got to let me know.
So what do you think about the house? Do you
Okay.
think The Door is gonna be the last album?
No, I don't. That is a stretch, and I'm a conspiracy theorist.
Girl, I hope not.
We literally talked about Taylor Swift for 8 minutes. I love this.
I well, and here's the other thing is if she tours, we have to get tickets.
Fine. Period. I'm going.
I don't even care how much it is. Like me and Haley had this wild idea that we were gonna fly to New York to go see Harry Styles, and then we were like, "Oh, tickets are $500 each,"
Yeah.
and then we're like, "Nah." But if Taylor comes to Atlanta and they're $500, I'd rather spend tickets to go see
Well,
her.
okay, so here's the thing. Because when I was a kid, I loved Taylor. Like, I lived Taylor. Like, White Horse, I was in my room. And then I remember back in the day, they did like a music video rendition of, like, you're on the phone, girlfriend, she's upset. Well, they did like a scary version of it, and I remember watching it and being mortified of it and not sleeping at night. Like, that's how, like, I was in elementary school. Like, that's how, like, way back we go. So, like, we literally grew up on it. And then whenever she did her little shake it off thing, I was really pissed off, and I went on a little rampage for a few years because I was like, she's so good. Why does she do shake it off? I was really upset about it. If she does a new version of that, I'm gonna be like not doing that. But anyways,
Well, you're just
I um,
you're not a 1989 girly, and I am
love 18
1890.
I love 1989. Her Polaroid aesthetic. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
So you do like that album, but you don't like Lover?
I don't. I'm like, there's just most songs that I'm not a fan of.
Anyways, continue what you were saying about Taylor Swift.
Oh, I was just gonna say I came full circle because I love her now, and like now that she's releasing all of her old stuff, I'm like, okay, maybe I'll listen to some of her new stuff too, and I'm like, okay, maybe this is really good, and then I was just,
Well, but let me take credit. Let me make this about me. It
yes,
was because of me.
it was because of you. Okay, you really did. You really did. You'd play it in the car and I'd jam to it.
Thank
And
you.
then I didn't realize like how many TikTok trends were based on her. Like she runs the world.
Mhm.
Like if you
Literally.
listen to her top songs, I'm like, I literally will have the TikTok stuck in my head and then I'll be listening to the song and I'm like,
Well, okay, so I wanna get your opinion on this because I know that you actually do like the Kardashians, and so do
ooh,
I.
ooh.
Do you not?
I love them. I live for
Okay,
them. The
that's what I
Jenners and the
figured.
Kardashians, yes.
So I know that you like the Kardashians, but how do you think it's just a coincidence or do you think it's on purpose that her album is coming out on Kim Kardashian's birthday?
Is that even a question? That is 100% intentional. That is 110% intentional.
So, here's the thing though is that you can only release music on Friday,
Huh?
right? And
Do you
you can only
what?
release you can only release new music on Fridays and Thursdays. So,
That's weird.
and 10, 21, 10, 2 plus 1 is 13, and she likes to do her 13 thing. So, I mean, it kind of makes sense. So, I don't know. I don't know if I
Nope.
think of I don't know.
If if it wasn't intentional, then she wouldn't have made it on that date. She would
I
have found a different
know.
13.
I know. But
She knows she's doing.
but she hasn't been to the VMAs literally in so long. I think since, she got interrupted by Kanye. And that day, the VMAs, when she went and announced that album, that was 13 years since Kanye West did that.
That in her outfit, have you seen the outfit of TikTok? How it's so
Girl,
similar? Girl.
yes.
Yeah, you think yeah, okay. 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 Okay.
She's such
Mic
a
drop.
Sagittarius. I can't. We have literally been talking about Taylor Swift for 12 minutes,
That's
and I
okay.
love that for
Alright.
us.
Do you wanna tell everyone what we're talking about or chit-chatting about today?
Yeah, we're going to be talking about pros and cons of a first look. Now, this is not to persuade anyone to do a first look. We aren't coming on here and being like, you have to do a first look. This is just simply to educate if you are interested in doing one. I will say that I have noticed that it's not becoming a trend anymore. I don't know if you've noticed that, Haley, but the last couple of weddings that we've done, they haven't done any, which
Mhm, you're right.
I don't know if that's just our clientele, but I think it's going out of trend.
I don't it's like it's a half and half. It's like I will say that I have a bride coming up in October that isn't going to um they're not doing anything like that. They're getting ready together. Like that's how chill it is. And so I think that people are maybe it maybe just be more convenient with the time change to like have it be like this and the reason why in the fall versus the summer people do it. I don't know. I'm going to have to give it another year before I cuz also eloping's becoming more and more of a trend. So I also think that has a part to do it with it because all the people that want to be super traditional are doing big weddings. The people that are not that would typically do a first look are just eloping instead.
Right.
But yeah,
That's true.
I will admit as much as like it's personal preference, but there as far as like photography wise, there are more pros than cons. So like even though it's not persuasion, like for me, whenever I wrote down my blog post about it, I have one con written down, and it is the fact that it's untraditional. Like it's the fact that it's a breaking a normal norm and other people aren't as keen on it, especially when they're older. And like your parents might have something to say about it or your grandparents might have something to say about it versus now. So that's the only con that I had because I was thinking. I wasn't thinking, I was thinking. And
Well,
there's not as much cons. There's not as many.
Well, I have an equal amount of pros and cons, because I typically can see things from, and Haley's pretty good at seeing things from both sides. Like, don't get me wrong, but
Mhm.
I'm pretty good at like seeing things both ways, and so I made up an Instagram post not too long ago where I put pros and cons of it because I have been getting so many questions from clients about whether they should do it or not and stuff like that. And I just kind of
Yeah.
tell them that's really up to them. Like, I personally will never try and force people to do it if they
Mhm.
don't want to, but I do think there are other good alternatives, like first touch or, like, a
Vow reading.
private a private vow reading or something like that. If you just don't wanna
Mhm.
do, like, it's really up to the person.
Oh, for sure. Like a
But
private prayer before where they just, like, go back to back or behind a tree where they can just hear, but they can't touch her or, like, look at each other. Except the bride always looks at the groom, which makes me upset.
yeah, well, I guess it's not a superstition for them to look at the groom, but
No.
whatever. But we will get to talk about superstitions for Halloween, and we're super excited for that.
I
So
am really excited. I think that yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. So do you want to do pros or cons first?
let's do the cons first, just so we can ease in, and then talk about the pros. I think
Okay.
that's smart. Or we can, or we can do, or we can do prawn and then a con, and then
Oh,
a
okay.
prawn, a prawn.
I knew what you meant. It's okay. A pro then a con. That's
Right,
okay.
and we can
So I
both read from
think
our list.
okay, I'll do a con. I'll do because I'm gonna steal one of your cons because I didn't. I literally put that as untraditional. That's the only con that I have.
That's fine.
But the con, the first con out of the two that we have is lighting may not be as ideal because it's usually earlier on in the day. And not saying that your photos are not going to be beautiful, but the first look moment isn't going to be potentially as amazing as it would be when it's like the ceremony time if your ceremony's at 6 or 7, or if like you the first time you would see them is down the aisle, which could be at a later time, which potentially the lighting could be good. I mean, you could argue that the weather could be good one moment, bad the next. It's just kind of like 50-50. So a con is potentially that the lighting is not as ideal as it would be during golden hour or sunset or like later in the day.
Yeah, I've never really had an issue though, because I feel like every venue offers, there's some sort of shade somewhere.
Mhm. Yeah.
But depending on if it's good shade is a different story.
Uneven
But
shade.
uneven shade, yikes. But yeah, so if you're gonna do like your first look with your significant other at like 12, then obviously that's direct sun. Like, you're gonna look like you have a mustache. So
Mhm.
just like take that into consideration. Or you can just, if your venue is super pretty inside, you can just do it inside. That's a nice thing about really hot weddings is most of the time the venues are really pretty inside. So that's just that's just something that, you know, might be a deal breaker.
Yeah, for sure. Um, I would say a con is like I have a tendency to be a really or pro, sorry, not a con. This is a pro. One of the I feel like the top pro is that you get all the nerves out. Because like you are so nervous like the day of your wedding. That's why people can't eat, can't sleep. And it's like such a big day. So getting to do a first look gets all of the nerves out. Like it calms you so much and you have like an intimate moment and you it just once you see them that you know that like hey listen like this is all gonna work out, like this is literally the person I'm in love with, that's why we're here today. It's not just like some like show that you're putting on and you're nervous to perform, if that makes any sense. So I think that getting all the nerves out is like, especially in my opinion, because I'm just such a nervous person and I'm so anxious, that getting the nerves out before doing a first look is like way it's the top of the pros list for me.
And I feel like this kind of feeds into another topic, but people put so much unnecessary stress on weddings in general that
Mhm.
I feel like, you're required to look a certain way on your wedding day. You're required to act a certain way on your wedding day. And it's just like not how it's supposed to be. And so I feel like a first look is really good to, like Haley said, get all the nerves out, talk to your partner before you walk down the aisle, and just, just get
Well, there's
on
not
good
as much
terms.
pressure, you know,
Yeah, it's
because
not as
like
much pressure.
I guess this could be viewed as a pro or a con, that there is pressure versus like no pressure, because some people like the pressure of like, oh, the groom doesn't know where the bride is. The groom's gonna see her walking down the aisle with everybody around. Some people like thrive off that pressure and they love it, but some people it's like a con because it's not as much pressure, and it's like you just get to have a very intimate private moment with no eyes watching, with no pressure on, and it's just a pure raw intimate moment. Whereas I feel like sometimes you see those videos and the dude like boo-hoo cries, and I'm like, are you just doing that? Like, I don't know how, like, it just
Well,
seems fake almost sometimes.
and that might be another thing that people need to take into consideration is everybody shows emotion so much differently.
Mhm.
And if you put this unnecessary pressure, especially I know that brides do this all the time, and I'm just like, you know what? If he's gonna cry, he's gonna cry. Like, don't pressure him into crying because
Mhm.
I know men like they don't really cry. You know what I mean? So it's if he cries, it's whatever. If he doesn't cry, then they're gonna have a problem with it. You know what I mean? So it's I don't know. I don't know. I feel like it's for men especially, it's a lot of unnecessary pressure for first looks, and that's probably why they don't like it because they feel like they need to show some sort of emotion, and that might be a con for them.
Mhm.
But I can see both ways of the male perspective and the female perspective because I get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for
Like
sure, for sure.
I don't know. But if any men are watching, if any men are listening, I don't know, add some feedback.
For real. For real, please do. I will say another pro is that you have more time for other things when you do a first look. Like a pro for a first look is you it's just the ultimate time saver. Like you don't have to be rushed because you get to do everything before the ceremony. So like it's almost like the hard part's almost over, and then after the ceremony, you can just literally go be with your guests and go enjoy your time. So you can like almost like knock off the first look to get all the pictures out of the way, because some people don't like pictures. Like I would highly if you hate pictures, please do a first look, just because it you can get them all knocked out in like such a little amount of time, and it's just as easier for everybody. It's a very easy thing to do. It's like definitely I would suggest that. Do you have anything to add?
No, I think that's a good pro. That you get to knock out all the pictures beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because I've had plenty of people tell me like we don't want to spend that much time, taking pictures and all this stuff. And as much as I love to take pictures, I totally understand.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm a photographer, but I'm also like, you know, I'm a
A future
human.
bride, you're human.
Right. And so I get it. Like I wouldn't want to stand in front of a camera all day anyways. So
I
that's why I'm the
I
photographer.
I love like doing photo shoots. Like I love because I just get to kiss and spin and twirl and like feel pretty. But like I know that some people, like especially guys, are like, listen, can we make this as like painless as possible? Like I will smile for a few and then I want to go drink beer with my or I want to go smoke a cigar. Like they don't care for pictures. Like it's not the priority of the day. And if it's not the priority of the day, but you still like pictures, doing a first look just makes everything more efficient. It makes everything go smoother because it's like bang 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 ceremony, let's party.
Right. And I think if you're not going to do a first look, just be prepared to have to do a lot of the majority of the pictures after the ceremony and just plan that out. And also, I know it's not about your guests, but please take into consideration. I feel like I've said this before, but take into consideration how long they're going to be waiting for you
Mhm.
because we've ran into situations where we literally have guests coming and
Mm.
asking us when we're going to be done, and it's kind of just like annoying on our part, and it's annoying for the couple to have
Mhm.
to deal with that when they're literally trying to get pictures taken. So
Yeah.
like just kind of prepare your guests for that, like have an itinerary of of stuff. So
I remember the wedding you're talking about, and I remember in the moment I handled that situation so well because we hadn't been doing pictures very long. Like not long enough for them to even make a comment, and it wasn't like it was super late either. It was probably a guest that was like, "Oh, I'm about to gorge myself on this food." And they literally like the bride and the groom cut photos short because they were just too worried about their guests that they didn't even want to enjoy the pictures. And it was so frustrating because they pay so much money to have you take their photos, and then they're just gonna, I don't know, just take it into consideration because if obviously you have a 7 o'clock ceremony, people are going to be hungry. And like if you don't do a first look, you have full bridal party, you have Mr. and Mrs., and you have family. And so you have to take in consideration about an hour and a half for all of that. And that's not even like when dinner starts. That's like to do entrances, to do first dances, to then go and eat. So it's just something to consider.
well, and that's especially like why cocktail hour was invented, even though it's not really an hour.
Mhm.
Um, but if you are doing like a little cocktail hour thing, make sure that your guests like have enough food and water and that they're inside in air conditioning
Yeah, for
because
sure.
sometimes, you're not a guest, so you forget like what I guess etiquette, I don't know, but
Yeah.
you forget that they're going to be standing out there waiting for you for like an hour and a half.
Mm,
But
faux show. Faux show.
for sure.
I'm gonna list off another con. It's you may have to get ready earlier, which may not be ideal for you and your bridesmaids because you potentially have to get up like at the crack of dawn to get your hair, makeup, everything ready. Typically, I suggest like if I'm doing a normal like 12 to 8 coverage, 8 hours, I say girls need to be completely done, completely ready, head to toe by 12 when I get there so that we can go straight into getting ready photos. We can go straight into getting in the dress. And it just makes everybody's life easier.
Sorry.
No,
I
you're
hit
good. I
my I
heard it.
hit my blinds. I moved myself back into my office so I could like have a little work-life balance, and I'm trying to get comfortable on this chair and I just can't.
Oh, that's why I usually get the floor. So I'm like all attentive. And now that I'm in my bed, I'm like, I'm ready to go to sleep.
Well, I do have a rocking chair back there, but I'd have to move everything and I don't really feel like it. So, anyways.
um, I'm trying
Yeah,
to.
I really don't see how makeup artists do it because they probably think that we're so annoying. And
Yes. I literally
uh
don't know how to get up that early either.
yeah. So like for example, like tomorrow's wedding, I'm pretty sure that they start hair and makeup at 8. And that's like that's early.
I think there's quite a few of them, and I think that's why. And they have to do like mothers and stuff. And I told them that I wanted them to be completely done when I got there. So I think that.
Right. And it's a little bit better that we've worked with the hair and makeup artist before. So, she knows what to expect.
Wait, is it Brandy?
Yeah.
Okay, so literally I suggested all of the vendors for her. So I'm so happy that she booked with her and also the videographer I recommended to her. So I am pumped. Pumped is an understatement for sure.
Yeah. So I think that I'm sure that the bride is okay with you talking about this, but tomorrow's wedding is a really good example of um like a first look. So Haley, do you want to explain like the situation?
With the like first look or like what
Mhm.
would go into doing a first look normally or
Like
which
what
element?
No, like why they decided to do a first look tomorrow.
Okay. So the bride and groom that I have tomorrow, they have like a pretty late ceremony. Their ceremony time starts at 7. And that's when typically we would be doing like Mr. and Mrs. photos. Like that's what time like the venue does everything. So with that being said, they were like, "Oh, like we don't want to do first look." And I was like, as much as like I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but I would really suggest doing a first look, because if they didn't, by the time the ceremony was over, we would have no time for Mr. and Mrs. photos or bottle party photos or family photos. We would have had to do them all inside with flash, and they wouldn't be my true, like my true tone, my true authentic work, because I love flash for reception. Flash isn't timeless, almost like a normal wedding photo would be, if that makes any sense. Take that with a grain of salt, because I love film flash and I love like DSLR mirrorless flash. I'm a sucker for it. I think there's a time and a place for it to be timeless, but not for every single wedding photo. When it could be preventable with the first look. So we'll be able to get all the photos they want, all the photos they paid for, with my style, with my previous work. And so because of that, we made the coverage a little different. We're starting at 3:30 getting ready photos, and we're going to be done by like 11:30, which is a pretty late reception for a typical, but it is at a winery. So things are a little different, like they have to close everything down, but
Gonna get crunk.
we are going to get crunk. That is faux show. That
No,
is
we're not. That is a
Hey.
joke.
Hey, now speak for yourself.
Girl.
Speak for yourself.
So yeah, that's just like one of the reasons why people do first looks. But I do think, like, to feed back into Hailey's topic of, the time changes sometime in
Mhm.
October, I think.
It is.
And so the
November.
sun, November?
Yeah. I think
Okay.
it's November 12th to 13th.
Oh, okay. So the sunset is going to start getting earlier and earlier until then.
Mhm.
So it's just like you kind of have to think about, like, if it's dark, probably not a good time or place for pictures.
Unless you
So
have a really early ceremony. Like if you have a 4 o'clock ceremony, then you could do. Or if you had a 3 or 4 o'clock ceremony, you could definitely do. But you would still have to get early regardless. So it'd just be personal preference whether or not you want them to walk down the aisle or not.
yeah.
It's all personal preference, and definitely if everyone, the way that I tell people to decide is based off of you and your spouse, because at the end of the day you guys are going to be living with the decision. Weddings are times to be selfish, like, because the only thing that matters is the bride and the groom. Absolutely nothing else matters. Not a mom, not a dad, I don't care who it took to get you there. I do not care, because it is about the bride and the groom, and this is their time to be selfish. This is your time to be selfish. So if you want to do a first look and you want to get great photos that ultimately you're paying an arm and a leg for, then you want them to turn out great, and you want to have special moments that no one else can be a part of, because it's your wedding day. So that's just a piece of advice for brides and grooms. Just do what you want to do. Be selfish. Like, people that get married ultimately are being selfless by being selfish, because they're giving themselves to another person. But I mean, ain't nobody gonna be living that person like you are gonna be living with that person. So,
Can I ask you how much is an arm and a leg nowadays?
well, if you ask the Budget Bride Facebook group, anything over 200 is an arm and a leg.
Are there any more? Like, I feel like we kind of
Yeah, we kind of like ran through them. It's like a topic that we can like talk about in like a short amount of time, because like I said, there's more pros than there is cons. Like, there are some that's like are on the line. It depends how you look at it. Because let's say you thrive off mornings. First look, you do it. I mean, you can get up at 6 a.m. and we could do a 10 a.m. first look, and that'll give you plenty of time to get lit, and then before the ceremony. But
it's late.
it's late. But I will say, like, if there's a piece of advice that every single bride and groom have ever given me, is like, we didn't get enough time with our guests. We didn't get enough time to spend time with our family. We didn't get enough time to spend time with people. And I said, maybe you should have done a first look. Because with the first look, no one's there before the ceremony, so it's just you guys. Anyways, so instead of just cutting up before the ceremony, you guys can just spend a little moment together, get all your photos taken. In that hour that would have been dedicated to taking photos, you can talk with your guests and eat, because that's what's important.
The food.
The food, even though wedding food's usually terrible, but
Okay, anyways,
yeah, like I said it.
well, I think it's um so my aunt is actually like she makes cakes.
Ooh,
And
I didn't know that.
when I posted this my post about first looks, I asked what other people's opinions were on it. And of course, I mean everyone on Facebook, but I want to read what she said because I felt like it was a good like other opinion besides photographer's opinion. So
Mhm.
this is coming from a uh what would you consider her, a baker?
A cake
Uh,
maker, like a vendor. This is coming from an
a
outside vendor.
vendor. Okay, she said, I think it's a great idea. At a wedding I did recently, the pictures took so long that a lot of the guests got tired of waiting for the bride and groom to arrive at the reception and they left. I did a 3-tiered cake, which is not cheap,
Mhm.
and a ton of desserts, and there was hardly anyone left to eat them.
Yep.
So, I mean,
And you have to wait till they cut the cake before they eat. Except one of my bride and grooms, they're like, "Hey, we want to take more time with our photos, and we want to just have everyone eat without us." And I said, "Period. Okay."
which I think I actually think that's okay. I know that a lot of people like you wanna, like, actually, like, eat with your guests,
Yes, I
but
want a great time.
some people just aren't, like, that way. Like, I've also had a couple of people, a couple couples, that's funny,
A couple of couples.
a couple of couples, that have just eaten dinner alone with just themselves, and
Mhm.
I think that's a great idea too, but yeah, I think that if you really don't want your guests to be complaining about eating, then but when do you guys get time to eat? That's what I'm concerned about. When
Yeah.
do you guys get time to eat? When do we get time to eat? Like, I'm worried about
Mhm.
me, okay?
Worried about your people don't, like, prioritize that as much because I don't know, but there's some brides and grooms out there, and there's some vendors out there that they do not prioritize, like, taking care of their vendors. Like, luckily, we haven't really had many issues with this because you have Hailey High here. And like I feel like I've attracted really good clients when it comes to like feeding me, and I've been lucky with really good vendors. I've only ever had like maybe one or two like put up a fight with like not feeding us until the end. And I'm like, yeah, by the end of dinner, like we have speeches, we have cake, we have dancing to take photos of. So it's either I eat now with you standing in my way or like I'm pushing you to eat. But either way, like it ends with Hailey eating.
Eating. Yeah, Haley eats.
Hailey Hailey gets hangry too.
Mm.
Hailey gets hangry. So if I don't have my food, ain't gonna be a pretty day.
Well, I just want to like put um something on blast really quick that I actually saw by The Knot, and I felt like it was very like disrespectful.
Ooh.
And they put on a blog post about how to save money, and they said, "Make sure you don't have to feed your vendors. That can cost a lot more." And I was like, "Okay. Unfollow."
Okay, that is in my contract that like food has to be provided because I don't have time to go and get food for myself because I am like I could do that if I cut down hours and charged more. So regardless you're going to pay. Regardless you're going to pay.
And
That's
it's really it's an unrealistic expectation to have your vendors uh pack themselves a lunch. Let me tell you something. I, I don't know about you, but I'm quite literally tired of eating a ham and cheese sandwich every day. Like, I'm not going to pack myself a lunch.
Yeah, I think, but I was brought up in a family where we like to eat. Like, we love to eat. Food is my love language. The one money I will spend money on, one thing I will spend money on is food. I'm a foodie. Anywhere I go, I will get whatever. I don't care how much it is. I literally love food so much. So I don't understand how whenever anyone comes to my house, I'm like, "Are you hungry? Do you want me to make you something? Like, please let me make you something." Like, I don't care if it puts me out of me not having a sandwich later. As long as you get to eat, we're good. We're fine. So that's don't do that. Your vendors will hate you.
Yeah,
Please
I
don't.
feel like this is kind of where we differ because I eat to live. So the only food that I actually like enjoy eating is Chick-fil-A.
Olivia, you just hook an IV up to you.
I don't know. It's just something, I don't know. We're not going to get into that. I feel like
No,
that's
we're not gonna throw hands.
I feel like that's for therapy, you know?
Yeah, I really do think like yeah, 100%.
Well, because there are people that live to eat and there's people that eat to live. So
There are people that don't understand and there are people that are stupid.
okay, so am I stupid?
You're
Wow.
stupid and you don't understand. So that's how I feel about that. For
Well,
being
that's
honest.
very nice. Haley has been mean to me all day, guys. This is
No, I
just a prime
haven't.
example.
You're so dramatic. Don't ever talk to me again. Oh, we have something fun coming up on Tuesday. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I was actually gonna say, like, when you were talking about how much you love photo shoots and how much you love to kiss, I was like, we're not kissing at our photo shoot.
No, we're not. We're not gonna be bashful like that. We're gonna be cutesy cutes. I might kiss you on the cheek though.
Yeah, we have a photo shoot on
For the
on
pod. We have
for the
photos.
pod.
We have it for the pod.
I really love that. So me and Haley are like completely opposite. Like she doesn't have structure and I need
Hey,
structure.
hey, I
And
have structure, it's just my own kind.
you do have structure. Remember when you freaked out because you lost your when you freaked out in Savannah because you lost your night guard or your retainer?
Oh my gosh. I have to have my skincare routine. I have to dude, I literally am still pissed. Don't know. Oh yeah, I do know where it went. It went in the trash can. That's where it went. But I found my I found my replacement, and now that's what I use. But I'm so upset because night routine is it doesn't stray. Like that's one thing you can't take away from me. You can't take away my moisturizer. You can't take away my teeth brushing with my retainer. It's what it does. I'm not having a gap ever come back.
So like for this was like my first full week being like full time. And I was trying to explain to Haley like my day by day. And Haley was like so stressed. I told her, I was like, everything is structured. I wake up like around the same time every day. My brain just wakes up. And I get up, I wash my face, I do my whole thing, I brush my teeth, then I take Yoshi potty. Then we come back in, we eat breakfast, we watch Price is Right for a little bit. We go on our hot girl walk, we come back in, and then I get to my grind, okay?
Yeah, I roll out of bed sometimes and I'm like, I have 10,000 things to do, don't know what I'm gonna start on first. I roll out of bed, I put some clothes on, and I head out the door, and then I'd make my decision when I'm in the car based on what I'm feeling in that moment. And then I usually get distracted by shopping or something.
All right, everybody.
Where can we find you, Olivia?
Girl, I don't even know if I have like the mental. I don't even know if I'm awake enough to say this. You can find me at Olivia Rodriguez Photos everywhere: Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, except for Facebook. That's Olivia Rodriguez Photography because I'm too dumb to change it. We know the drill.
Yes.
Where can we find you, Haley?
You can find me at Hailey High Photography everywhere that is on socials except Twitter because I don't have Twitter. But you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, HaileyHighPhotography.com, TikTok, all of the things, all the things.
And make sure that you're like following the podcast.
Yep.
Instagram. We are on Instagram, TikTok,
Not
I'm
fake.
I'm trying to put out content, guys. Please bear with me. I am struggling. So, but normally we post like really fun content on there. So make sure that you're following us and stream on Spotify, Apple, anywhere that you can listen to podcasts. And on my website. I put it on my website, guys.
Yes, I need to learn how to do that too, but I'm excited. And we will see you next week when we talk about I don't know. Bye.
That was not audible, so let's redo that. All right, guys. So next week we don't even know the episode that we're gonna do, so just bear with us. But anyways, we love you guys so much. Thank you
We'll
for
see you next
listening.
week. Bye.
Bye.